Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of Inside Leatherneck Athletics. I am your host, Matt Fisher. My guest today is head coach of the track and field team, Dave Beauchem. Thank you for joining me today, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Now, just kind of wanted to touch on the indoor season. It's wrapping up right now. It's been a long season, to say the least. What are your thoughts on the indoor season so far?
Well, it's been a great month for us, really, in February, coming back from break in January and getting things moving. The last 2 weekends have really stepped up for our team, and as we head into the conference championship in a week and a half, it's really set us up to being pretty competitive next weekend.
Now, looking forward to the conference matchup as well as NCAA qualifiers and then even the national tournament, what are your thoughts on that? What are your expectations for your team?
Well, we have a real core of 8 to 10 top-level competitors on both sides that really gear towards the conference championship and their opportunity to be all conference and to be a conference champion individually. Then we have those 2 or 3 on each side that are really looking at the national level in terms of competition and qualifying. And balancing that all together with our roster through our season, we've really had some good progression in the last 2 weeks, and now we're looking forward to really being tested in the postseason of our season.
How has your preparation changed, say, from a previous meet, such as this week with Iowa, and then last week with Iowa State and Knox College? How has that changed heading into conference?
Different meets we really come into with a different mindset. Obviously, specifically, we're going to go in there and compete hard in all of our events. But certain weekends, we may be doing some secondary events to really set up our primary event performance coming in the championship season.
Now, this is your first year as coaching, kind of thrown right into the fire. How's that gone for you?
Yeah, my first year here at Western. It's been a challenge. We got the staff put together pretty early with Coach Seiler coming in and our other assistant coaches getting put together. I'm sure it's been as much of a challenge and adjustment for the team as it has been for the coaches. I think sometimes that transition is looked at on the staff more than it's looked at on the student athletes and what they've had to adjust to and what they've had to transition to in terms of training workouts, in terms of emphasis, and especially in terms of competition expectations and how our staff is putting things together versus what they've come into Western working with previously.
Now, after 16 years at Bradley, how has your transition been?
It's been pretty smooth, really. Obviously, there's going to be challenges to the different administrative aspects of being at Western versus how things were done before. But overall, it's been pretty smooth. And like I said, I think now that we've gotten into the second half of the indoor season, that progression has really sped up quite significantly, and we're really ready for what's going to lie ahead for us with the championship part of the indoor season, but certainly with the outdoor season and what lies ahead this semester still.
Now, speaking of the outdoor season, how has indoor season been preparation for you for the outdoor season?
Well, a lot of it has to do with what we're able to get done in training and where we are with the personnel on the team. And our personnel is really geared a lot more to where the outdoor season lies for us with the 400-meter hurdles and the extra throwing events outdoors. We're just a more competitive team during the outdoor season than we are during the indoor season. And so that's where we're really moving towards with all of our training and what we have going on.
Who's really impressed you thus far this season?
On the women's side, certainly where Nikki Clear is, and her expectations for herself are pretty high, and we're right on the way to meeting her goals and her expectations. I think she's going to have a chance to certainly compete for the conference championship next weekend and take a shot at qualifying for nationals the first weekend in March.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Coach. Be sure to join us next week when Adam Yingst will be joined by head coach Holly Van Vlymen of the softball team. For Inside Leatherneck Athletics, I'm Matt Fisher. Take care, everyone.